Hi, welcome to the new moon in Gemini. This is our new moon in Gemini intention planting ceremony. So, this ceremony is all about the art of mirroring. And because I don't currently own a disco ball, I decided to wear sequins. So, this is a reflective ensemble. Okay, so I hope you are shining from the inside, and let's get started with the new moon Gemini ceremony. So this is the point in the lunar cycle where we want to plant our intentions. Again, you're going to want a blank piece of paper and you're going to fold it into fourths. This is a tradition that we borrow from the metaphysician Florence Scovel-Shinn. She's long passed. Sometimes I check in with her though, and she is really digging what we are doing. And it's from her book, the Game of Life and How to Play It. And she talks about like a square of life and how to kind of put intentions into these different parts of our life and then draw in the abundance and opportunities and joy that are ours by divine right. And by divine right, I say that a lot, and I guess I've never really explained what that means. It just essentially means that if you have shown up here on planet Earth, you've come for some reason. And before you came, there's a certain number of agreements that you made about the lessons that you'd learn and the lives that you'd impact and the things that you would do while on this plane of existence. And part of that is enjoying all the things that this unique realm has to offer us. And we say that, like claiming our abundance by divine right. So, whatever abundance actually means to you. Some people, it means financial abundance. Some people, it means geographic freedom. Some people, it means time abundance, just having enough time to do whatever it is that they feel called to do. Some people feel that having an abundance of everything is what they've been called for, because then they can maybe share it. Okay, so again, a blank piece of paper will work for this ritual. You could also click around wherever you're watching this and find the PDF downloads in the Lunar Manifestations members area. There's a nice little download for all of these, and what's nice about that is it's double-sided and it's kind of got like an imagery on the front and the back, and it has a spot where you can put the moon and the date of the new and full moon, because you always want to make sure that you're like kind of writing it or noting it somewhere. And I always write the date of the full moon in the same time that I'm writing the date of the new moon. So like I will do the Gemini new moon on the front, and then I will just take a second and do the full moon on the back along with the date, so that when it comes time to the Gemini full moon in 6 months, I can look back at the intentions that I planted at the Gemini new moon and be like, oh, what has come into my reality? So in each of these 4 quadrants, we're going to plant a micro and a macro intention. So micro being something that you could reasonably see coming into your existence in the next 2 weeks before the next full moon, because remember, new and full moons happen every 2 weeks. New moon, full moon, new moon, full moon. And then the corresponding full moon to whatever new moon cycle we're in comes in 6 months. So we're in the Gemini new moon. We are in a Gemini new moon phase, which means the corresponding Gemini full moon will come in 6 months. So it's cyclical. It's like clockwork. Every now and then there's a 13th moon. I've got a ritual for that. But for the most part, it's every 6 months. That's the beauty of the moon, and that's why I love connecting with it, because you can literally access it anywhere in the world, and it's always going to show up. It has yet to disappear, and it's cyclical in nature, which means it's predictable. And ancient peoples, base their lives, their entire worlds around it. And in modern times, we've kind of fallen away from it, and it's just a really cool thing. So something else to note: you won't see the new moon. I don't know if I talked about that a lot. The new moon is when the moon is darkened, and so there's not a lot of light. But the full moon is like, the full moon is what most people actually talk about, is like, oh, it's a full moon and the energy's all weird. And yeah, the energy does get a little bit weird at the full moon. Not that the moon actually does anything, but like the tide shift, the magnetic field shift. And it's also a time when like intentions that maybe you'd planted 2 weeks or 6 months ago are starting to pop into your reality. And so it does cause a little bit of like unexpectedness, because sometimes those manifestations that pop into your reality are like really exciting, and sometimes you're like, oh, that was not how I had thought that this would go down, but it did. Okay. Health, wealth, love, and perfect self-expression, a micro and a macro intention. You're going to want to take a minute to plant that. Another set of words that you may feel called to use, again, you can use whatever feels right for these 4 quadrants, is ease, flow, connection, and expansion. So for anybody doing this ceremony, maybe like if this is your second what do they call it? Second trip around the moon? Wait, what is that? Second trip around the world? What's that saying? Like to the far side of the moon, to the direction, whatever. It doesn't matter. This is your first time around the sun. It's the sun. I'm like thinking moon. I think it's around the sun. Okay. Anyways, doesn't matter. If this is your first go around, doing like a year of new and full moon ceremonies, maybe use the words health, wealth, love, and perfect self-expression because they're a little bit more concrete and they can help us manifest in ways that we can see in a more tangible form. Now, if you're a little bit more experienced and maybe you've gotten really great at manifesting like parking spots and having your earrings come back, I tell these stories in other rituals, or you manifest your dream life in a foreign country and get all the help that you need to live a life that you could only dream about, like kind of concrete things that are really easy and tangible to see. You might want to change your language up to something like ease, flow, connection, and expansion, using the same energy of health, wealth, love, and perfect self-expression, like health being our vitality, our well-being, wealth being the ways that we generate and bring in abundance, and then share that abundance, because that's a key part in the lunar cycle. Connection, I use that as like mediumship, like how we connect to our loved ones in spirit, or our guides, our master teachers, things like that. Or in like the less metaphysical, love would be like how we connect with people here on this realm. And then expansion is how we raise the collective vibration of this planet. I keep wanting to like bring something up about like being here on this planet here and now. So there's something really interesting in like metaphysics where we talk about these different planes of existence and spirit resides in one plane of existence. It's like typically referred to as a higher plane, and it does feel like a higher plane. It's a space where there's definitely like more consciousness and more of an awareness and a greater access to maybe the things that we have blinders on in this like time space reality that we call life on Earth. And then like I haven't really talked about this a lot in these rituals, but like there are other dimensions. Like they're just gonna say it full woo. I personally am not like I don't know that I'm a starseed. I've been told I'm a starseed. I mean I'm doing this whole moon thing and I've been doing it for a while now. So if that's not at least kind of intergalactic or interplanetary, I don't really know what is. But other people in this space um, believe that you can kind of like connect to those other dimensions. And I actually I would tend to agree with that. I personally haven't had a lot of experience. Most of my experience in this space has been with dealing with our loved ones who've transitioned and helping people here on this plane of existence move through feelings of grief and processing like the trauma of losing a loved one and then learning how to expand their own spiritual gifts so that they can do that on their own and they don't need like the help of a medium and they can like integrate those experiences. So with that said, maybe that's like what's coming up for you in this ritual. That's kind of what's coming up for me. I just took place in a healing ceremony with an amazing healer, Joseph Adams. He and I did a Golden Otter Divinations podcast episode together. You should check it out somewhere in the rituals. I know I've linked to it before. And he does these crystal grids. And before, when I've worked with him, he's channeled Pleiadians and like celestial beings. Now, some people call them extraterrestrials. Some people call them celestial beings. ETs, alternate intelligence, like I don't know. It's like an intelligence that is out there, and I don't think it's negative. I don't think it's bad. I think everything within this space is you're matched by the energy that you put out, plain and simple. If you've got weird vibes, if you're not like keeping your space clean and your vibration clean and your energy and your body, your capsule, your physical body, like if you're maybe doing stuff that like your doctor wouldn't recommend, like drugs and alcohol and addictions that would like things that we know don't serve us, like and that can even be non-chemical or not things we ingest, but like things we put into our body, things we take in, toxic relationships, toxic entertainment, things of that nature. So the point of the story is the clearer our channel, the clearer the connection, and the higher the vibration. So I tend to only interact with other people in this space who are like really high vibration, really positive, joyful people who also have other things going on in their life other than being metaphysical and woo-woo, because you can have multiple facets to your lived experience. And point of where I was going, like, I don't do ghost busting. I don't do ghost chasing. Like, I think I've said that before. Lots of love to you guys, and I think it's really cool what you're doing, but like, that's where I draw the line. But back to these alternate realities. So in the expansion quadrant, ties back, in the expansion quadrant, the perfect self-expression quadrant, that might be a place where you want to place an intention, plant an intention that is raising our collective vibration. And as our earth is shifting, we're in the 2020s, and like this decade is going to be one for the record books. It already has been. Like literally, it already has been. So I don't know if you guys noticed, I'm a social studies teacher. I taught in the classroom for over a decade, and then I designed online digital curriculum. And it's like I keep going back to the books, and I'm just like, historically, and there's a lot of things that like tend to repeat themselves in history books, but it's not all the time that we're able to really deduce those lessons in a short enough time frame that we can prevent ourselves from making the same mistakes within one generation. So like our grandparents, or for me at least, would have been born in the 1920s. Here we are in the 2020s, almost 100 years later. Shout out to Grandma Baylor, my Twyla Littlefield, who's 90-something years old. Sorry, Grandma, I don't know how old you are, but like 90 plus. I don't think it's polite to say a woman's age, so like she's in her 90s. And she's now living through a time where history is and has repeated itself. And in our modern era, where we are able to connect in this plane of existence like very quickly with emerging technologies, internet, social media, email, phone calls, like all of it, we are able to, they call it the quickening, we're able to connect much quicker. And so ideally and hopefully that means that we are learning our lessons at a faster rate so that we aren't doomed to repeat them at like an exponential, like in an exponential way, right? Because, the world's population has grown, like things have changed. Okay, what does that have to do with celestial beings? And this crystal grid that I did with my friend Joey a while back, where he was like connecting us all like in a global environment to a higher consciousness. The point is, we may not have all the answers here on this plane, and we can work with beings of like light and love with positive intentions from other realms by raising our own personal vibration and planting an intention to do that every month for yourself. Like literally, if you become the change that you wish to see in the world, you can elicit change in the world. If you become an abundant person, if you generate more like wealth, if you generate more positivity, if you generate just anything that lights you up and that like brings up your vibration in the world, you then become like a portable generator to help someone else do the same. You become a living example of what is possible for someone else. So maybe plant the intention in your expansion corner, in your perfect self-expression corner, to connect and expand, connect like with other time-space realities, and expand our collective consciousness, like during this time-space reality. Gosh, I use really like weird wording, don't I? Message me if you need some clarity around that wording. Okay, so take a second to do that during this new moon phase. And then last but not least, here is the Gemini New Moon ritual info. Okay, Gemini New Moon, the art of mirroring. The beauty and wisdom within me honors the beauty and wisdom within you. Ever had a conversation with someone and walked away thinking, that was more of a monologue than a dialogue? This video not included. Okay. While I make it an affirmative habit to practice mindfulness throughout my day, I still, on occasion, find myself on both the giving and receiving end of this unfulfilling interaction. When I allow my life to become so busy and overrun with unnecessary to-dos, errands, or chatter, I lose the gift of presence, which when given or received, truly is a present, pun intended. as it honors both or all of the individuals in a given dynamic. One-sided interactions don't feel good for anyone, regardless of what side of the interaction one is on. The reason is that life here in the physical is a dance of give and take. Sometimes we give, sometimes we receive. This month, the new moon in Gemini is here to help us balance our energy dynamics at every level with our inner circle of intimate relationships such as siblings, peers, and partners, or parents, the outer circle of informal connections like our neighbors or coworkers, and even the local personalities milling about at the periphery of our lives, like the barista that you see every day, or the clerk, or the custodian you might see regularly. In those moments when we are so caught up with what's going on in our own inner lives that we forget to take a moment to connect with those that surround us, we can feel out of alignment. This month, to get back into balance, we have a new moon ritual that honors the mercurial energy of Gemini to reroute our attention away from ourselves by noticing how intriguing and even mysterious those around us are when we take a moment to pause and really engage using the art of mirroring. With love, light, and a disco ball of mirrors and a sequin dress, here's the Gemini New Moon ritual. So this month's ritual is about twinning energy and mirroring back the beauty that we see in other souls. And that's kind of like a flowery term, but really what this month is about is getting present for 29 days, not just 14 days till the full moon, full 29 days till the next new moon, the Cancer new moon. And the reason for that, it's like we've all heard, like to develop a habit of something, you have to do it at least 22 times. So go for a month of this, and you're basically going to cultivate more joy, freedom, and beauty in your life. You're going to keep a journal, and or a journal or a calendar, and take note of at least one positive daily interaction you experience. So for more on the ritual, make sure you go to the Lunar Manifestations members section where the ritual is always there with like all the details. But basically, whatever you put out, you're going to get back multiplied this month. It's just like, that's just the energy that it's the twinning energy. And something that's really like a really cool way to get out of your like whatever state you're in and to get into a higher vibration is to notice something about a person that you're intrigued by. Like, even if the person's like talking, or maybe you see them all the time, you're like, oh, I don't know that I want to like engage with you right now. Find one thing. Maybe they style their hair different. Maybe they like have a new earring in. Maybe they just went somewhere you can connect with them on in a positive manner, and then like drill into that so that it brings you both through the other side of the interaction feeling really fulfilled. Because sometimes those kind of interactions can be like, I'm just going to check out, just talk at me. Good, just talk at me. I'll just sit here. Oh, really? Okay. But that's kind of a waste of time and space and energy. Like, why? Like, you're meeting this person for a reason, even if it's a casual interaction. And doing this mindfulness exercise this month really helps us get present to why exactly certain people are always in our lives. Like, is there somebody in our life that is there specifically to teach us gratitude? I drove by a homeless man for 3 years, every single morning dropping my daughter off at school. And I learned a lot of lessons from this person who was just literally a 2-minute, well, it was like a 30-second interaction every day at a stoplight. So I don't know why I was telling you that, but everyone shows up in our life. They always say a reason, a season, or a lifetime. Why is that person in your life for this, season? Okay. And then lastly, we're also going to do the Rumi test before, when speaking in this, for this month of mindfulness. And you're going to, before any words pass your lips, you're going to want to put them through the Rumi test. Is it true? Is it kind? Is it necessary? If you can't answer those questions, it's better to say nothing at all. Isn't that what they used to say? If you can't say something nice, don't say anything at all. So if the words you're about to speak don't align with the type of energy you wish to receive back from another person or environment, don't put them into the universe. So think of your words as keys that have the power to open or unlock any door. So which universal portals do you want to be opening and closing in your life? That's why it's also really cool too and important to surround yourself with like-minded people who are going to engage in the type of conversations that you want to be having. If you find yourself in groups that just don't lift you up and they don't energetically fill your cup, you don't have to be a part of those groups. And you can find people to talk about and experience the types of things that you want to. That's the beauty of this quickening and this time that we live in, where it's like we are just instantly connected. I mean, you and I are literally right now one DM away from being connected. Go to Instagram, you can DM me, connect, right? It's like, it's that instant. Okay. I mean, 100 years ago, you would have had to write me a letter and then mail it off and hope that I get it here in Africa. Okay, lastly, check out Your Word is Your Wand by Florence Scovel Shinn. I know I talk about her all the time. Her books are for free on YouTube. And then you're going to keep your running ledger of compliments given out this month and compliments you receive to track the balance of the universe, because you always get what you put in. And lastly, we have some animal energy. So check out the ritual to learn about eagle energy. So animal tarot cards. I don't talk about this a lot, but the eagle energy and the canine energy and the moose, because I'm an Alaskan girl and I couldn't not have the moose. Did you know? And no, I was going to say the eagle is the Alaska state bird. That's wrong. It's the national, it's the U.S. bird. I think ours is a spruce ptarmigan. I don't know. Oh gosh, if you're an Alaskan, ping me with what our state bird is. I think it's a ptarmigan. I feel like it's a ptarmigan. Snow ptarmigan? I don't know. Our state flower is the forget-me-not. I know that. 8 stars of gold on a field of blue is our state flag. Okay, why am I still here? Have a wonderful new moon. With love and light, Autumn.